In this session, we focus on finding and engaging stakeholders as participants in co-creation processes. We will discuss the concept of stakeholders, how to identify them, and what you can do to approach and engage different types of stakeholders in your project. Most of you have probably heard about stakeholders before, but we will just briefly clarify what is implied with this concept to ensure that everyone is on the same page. Your stakeholders can be defined as those persons, groups, or organizations that may have an interest in the work you're doing. They may be affected by it or are able to affect it themselves. As the term implies, they are the ones who have an identifiable stake in your matter. In order to make sense of the stakeholders, categorization is often used to group and differentiate between different types of stakeholders. In GoNano, we often use the rather broad categories of citizens, industry, policy, research, and civil society when referring to the different stakeholders we aim to enable co-creation between. It made sense for our project because the ambition of the co-creation process in its entirety was to develop future nanotechnologies in the sectors of health, energy, and food with societal needs and concerns. However, for the three respective co-creation pilots for applications areas in each of the sectors, we would also use more specific additional categories to capture the nuances of the different types of stakeholders we identified. For the application area of diagnostic and assistive medical devices within the healthcare sector, we for instance recognized health insurance companies and hospitals as respective industry stakeholders, and viewed patients, relatives, and ethical committees as separate types of civil society stakeholders. It is important to identify your stakeholders in relation to co-creation, as it allows you to get an initial understanding of the various perspectives that you may get or miss out on, depending on the type of stakeholders that participate in your process. This will enable you to consider and make an informed decision about which stakeholders you need to have participating in your co-creation process and why. As you have identified your possible stakeholders and thought about which of them you need to involve in your co-creation process, it is important to also consider how you get them to participate. While they may have a stake in your research and innovation project, this does not necessarily mean that they want to participate automatically. You gain their perspectives and insights, but what is in it for them? This is something you need to think about and articulate in order to engage them. In the remaining part of this session, we will showcase the communication strategies we developed in the GoNano-project to engage the different types of stakeholders that we needed to participate in the co-creation process. The purpose of this is to exemplify how you can anticipate the interests and possible motivations your various types of stakeholders might have for participating in your co-creation process, as this is useful for figuring out how to approach and recruit them later on. However, before we do this, we will just briefly reiterate some of the central aims of the co-creation process in the GoNano-project, as these influenced which type of stakeholders that we deem necessary to engage. The co-creation process should result in product suggestions for future nanotechnologies in food, energy, and health that are aligned with societal needs and values. Additionally, it should also develop policy recommendations on how to support societal engagement and uptake and reflection on societal needs and values in nanotechnologies, research, and innovation. Since we both wanted policy and regulation perspectives for the product suggestions and to develop policy recommendations, we needed to involve policy stakeholders in order to better understand their needs and interests. When trying to figure out how to engage this type of stakeholder to participate in the co-creation process, we work from the following assumptions about the possible motivations of policymakers and regulators. That it is attractive for them to be involved with encouraging holistic solutions where research and innovation actors, other professional stakeholders, civil society organizations, and citizens work together to create novel suggestions for future nanotechnology products in the areas of food, health, and energy. Gain knowledge of needs and concerns of the actors of society and of citizens, as it will enable policymakers to address these and therefore to develop policies with broader support. affect the outcome of the co-creation process so that it is relevant to their current political agendas and focus, develop their network on co-creation and public engagement in research, and to become more directly involved with citizens. We needed the involvement of industry stakeholders, as they could contribute with their perspectives and interests regarding nanotechnology, as well as their experience and knowledge about common practices, trends, and expectations within production, development, and marketing of nanoscience and nanotechnology products. In addition, they could help ensure that the resulting product suggestions were of potential interest to the industry to put into production. When trying to figure out how to engage industry stakeholders to participate in the co-creation process, we work from the following assumptions about their possible motivation: that it is attractive for them to participate in the co-creation processes, as it will provide them with insights about the perspectives, needs, and interests of citizens regarding nanotechnology, knowledge which will enable them to better adjust their innovation to market needs and navigate strategically in the fields of potentially controversial technologies. Developing concrete product suggestions that align with societal needs will provide them with ideas for their future innovation. Have an opportunity to work closely with researchers and draw on their expertise. Mediate their interest in the future development of nanotechnology to politicians and research networks. Interact with research and innovation networks, as this will provide important input on areas to invest in, areas of future societal importance, and areas of interested potential customers. We needed the involvement of research stakeholders to contribute with their scientific expertise in nanotechnologies in relation to the topic areas of food, energy, and health, as well as their needs, wishes, and concerns for working more co-creatively. We work from the following assumptions about the possible motivations of researchers: that it would be attractive for them to join the GoNano community and network with industry, policymakers, and the general public, improve the impact of their research by adjusting their focus to societal needs and concerns, learn about co-creation processes, knowledge which they can use in their future research practice. We also needed the involvement of civil society organizations and networks, as the participation of NGOs and consumer organizations were thought to contribute with a broader understanding of public needs and concerns about nanotechnology research and innovation, make it easier to reach the general public and get them involved in the project, inspire and build the capacity and network of these organizations to promote and engage in co-creative research and innovation processes, and promote public participation in research and innovation. When thinking about the possible motivations of civil society organizations to take part in our co-creation process, we thought it would be attractive for them to have the opportunity to bring societal concerns into nanotechnological development, learn about co-creation and responsible research and innovation, and better equip themselves to engage in and promote future processes. Finally, in addition to civil society organizations and their contribution to bringing in societal needs and concerns, we needed to bring in lay citizens in the co-creation process. In short, the participation of citizens were necessary to bring citizens' perspectives, needs, and concerns to the process in order to align the outcomes with societal needs, empower publics to get involved in co-creative research and innovation processes. When thinking about the possible motivations of citizens to take part in our co-creation process, we thought it would be attractive for them to have a chance to communicate their perspectives, needs, and concerns to policymakers, researchers, and industry, engage in science and technology, learn more about nanotechnology, and form or refine their perspectives on it. In this session, we have discussed and shown examples of how to identify various stakeholders and how you may be able to engage them in your process by relating to their respective interests and possible motivations. In the following sessions, we will focus more on the practical aspects of organizing and carrying out co-creation processes in practice. Here we will also elaborate on strategies and methods to recruit participants to the co-creation process.